Burke released today. Prison. Exhibit 1 to evidence. Wednesday, July 9th, 2025. On the minister. He's also charged with federal program violating legislation. 14 counts. 2 years. He might have beat the record here. He probably did. Please help in my endeavors to donate to Cash App Street Exchanger. Exhibit 1, Circle 7 Production, Circle 7 Astronomy, Street Exchanger. And Street Exchanger at Street Exchanger 9896 at YouTube. Donate to Street Exchanger Cash App. Thank you.
Now to breaking Chicago political news. Former Alderman Ed Burke is out of prison. His release comes less than halfway through his 2-year federal sentence on racketeering and bribery charges. According to the Federal Bureau of Prisons, the 81-year-old will serve the rest of his time in either home confinement or at a halfway house. Burke has also been ordered to pay a $2 million fine and $65,000 in restitution.
Alderman Henry, what purpose do you rise?
Mr. President, roll call. Is it an order of the parliamentarian ruling that at this time I could move an adjournment until Friday at 2 p.m.? Is that an order?
No. Well, he said he was going to do that. Motion to adjourn, I'm told, is always in order. And now we'll find out.
Yes, sir. Then Alderman Ed Burke, in collaboration on the floor of the City Council, December 1st and 2nd, 1987.
And Mr. Alderman Henry,
appointing Eugene Sawyer after the death of Honorable Mayor Al Washington.
Alderman Burke had to cross all the way across the room to quickly come over and have a quick conversation with him.
Alderman Gabinski also. No, he didn't move to adjourn.
No, he didn't. He asked if it was in order.
Right.
Now, Dick, going back to the old fast gavel question here, in refusing to allow Burton Nateris's roll call on the appeal of the ruling of the chair, isn't this a ploy by the chair to get this?
To have a roll call on his... All of us agree that you have done an absolutely splendid job after the untimely death of Mayor Washington. But I really think that it is in all of our best interests that you rule fairly and that you give Alderman Nateris an opportunity to have a roll call on his appeal of the ruling of the chair. That was the motion that was before the body before you recognized Alderman Henry. And there must be, in my humble opinion, a roll call on Alderman Nateris' appeal before you can then entertain another motion.
Okay, I appreciate those remarks, Alderman, but I believe a motion to adjourn is always in precedent. If the motion to adjourn, obviously, if it does not pass, then we'll proceed with Alderman Nateris' recommendation.
Well,
so I respectfully appeal your ruling.
So now, Dick, we have 2 appeals of the ruling of the chair, right?
Well, this is the kind of quagmire. This is the kind of quagmire that gets built.
Prevalent. The clerk will take the roll.
This is the kind of quagmire that makes money for attorneys, is what this is.
You know, I never really did understand Robert's Rules of Order.
Well, Burke is an expert on them, though, I got to tell you.
He is a recognized parliamentarian.
And you know, sometimes, even when he loses, he's correct in making some of the parliamentary assessments.
And on this one, as little as I know about Robert's Rules, it seems...
Listen, Henry is asking about a vote on Friday. I didn't catch all that. They didn't have his microphone on. But, you know, they'll probably defeat this unless Henry and Shanitha Butler and some of those people. Here we go.
Exhibit 1, the evidence, where law and politics blend on the streets of Chi-Town. Today, Ed Burke was released from federal prison and an early release program. You go to the Work Release Center on Christiana and Chicago Avenue. His wife, Ann Burke, I think she's former Illinois Supreme Court Justice. Took him some supplies over there for his stay. He gets out in February 2026, I mean. Ed Burke was formerly one of the most powerful aldermen in the city of Chicago. At one time, he was the Finance Committee chairman many years. He was a Chicago City Council alderman from 1969 to 2023. His dad was Joseph Burke. He was a Cook County Sheriff policeman, as well as a 14th Ward alderman and ward committeeman throughout the 50s, I think. And he died in 1968. And Ed Burke was elected by the precinct captains in the 14th Ward Regular Democratic Organization by a slim margin of 3.5 votes from a more popular veteran precinct captain that wanted the spot. By him being the son of Joseph Burke, the former alderman that died from cancer, he got that spot. As a matter of fact, if my dad had been reelected, me and my brother Rick might have been slated with a fault to get that spot. But yeah. If things would have turned out different with doing the Harold Washington Coalition, if things would have been different throughout all three of our lives, because it was much different. My best memory of Ed Burke in 1984, when our dad's birthday, September 24th, 1984, I believe that was my dad's 49th birthday. Yeah, his 49th birthday. And he was at Faces Nightclub on Russian Oak. Now, that night, September 24th, at the Faces Nightclub, and right after the final out of the game, the Cubs against the Pittsburgh Pirates, when they clinched the division, everybody started celebrating. That was the first time that in 39 years the Cubs was in the postseason. And so celebration was in the club at the same time because the game was on TV as well. We saw the final outs. And lo and behold, who comes through the door within 5 minutes or 3 minutes of that final out? Ed Burke and his security detail, folks, Chicago police, plainclothes policeman, detective, his security. He had his own security detail by him being Finance Committee chairman. And he like the number 2 spot, powerful spot in the city, but actually the first. I said to him, he come over, greeted my dad, very jovial, celebratory way, and shook our hands. My dad introduced me and my brother Rick to him, and I said, hey, Cubs won the division. Yeah, we're going to be in the World Series playoffs, stuff like that. I was happy. He said, yeah, he didn't want to know, yeah. Well, I didn't realize, I realized, but at the point in time, I thought everybody throughout the city would celebrate. But the animosity between North Side, South Side, Cub Sox, by 14th Ward, he's been the 14th Ward alderman. His ward was in the southwest side, right next to the 11th Ward. His ward was like at 51st and Western, something like that. So he was a White Sox fan. He didn't give a damn, So anyway, that's my memory of Ed Burke. Please help in my endeavors to donate to Cash App Street Exchanger. Exhibit 1, Circle 7 Production, Circle 7 Astronomy, Street Exchanger. And Street Exchanger at Street Exchanger 9896 at YouTube. Donate to Street Exchanger Cash App. Thank you. It is. Minister, he's out. Good for him. Now, he stole enough money. He's rich, filthy rich. He's got to pay $2 million back to he owed $2 million plus dollars. So he got it. He got a lie on the minister.
Every time you got yourself.
I know I can